Oh boy. Welcome to the town hall. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're so glad that you're here. If you happen to be watching on Facebook, make sure to share this video out to your friends and the groups that you belong to. And this isn't going to be an interactive broadcast. So if you have thoughts or you comments or questions for our guest this evening, feel free to put those in the comments. We want to thank everybody too as well that's watching on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple and Android TV. So we have a great guest this evening, Suzie Suttles, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Suzie. Of course, we appreciate that you will share this out. Stick with us. We're going to be talking tonight about empowerment of oneself. You know, we are what we think. You know, what we think, and everything starts with a thought, is who we are. Most of our thoughts and emotions actually emanated from our childhood and the things that we learned and the experiences that we had. And what that did was is that it created our subconscious. And most of what we do is based upon our subconscious mind. It is our belief system. It's the morals. It's the agreements that we have made within ourselves as to whether we agree to something or whether we don't agree to something. But tonight we're going to be talking most specifically about PTSD, about traumatic events that people experience and how they can cope with that PTSD and enjoy their everyday life, because that's what we want for you, is to enjoy life, to have peace, serenity, and make the best of every single day and be successful and achieve your dreams and goals. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to bring our special guest, Suzie, into the studio. Good evening, Suzie.
Hi, Stephen. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good
Thank
under
you.
the circumstances. We had, and I apologize, folks, a little bit of issues right up on the front end, but we've got it solved, I believe, for
Yeah,
now.
I agree with everything you said. Like mindset is so important. It's so important in everything because, like you said, we were taught so many things that were, that we believe that were true, that were, really not the truth. Um,
Right.
and a lot of that stuff had a very profound effect over our lives, and we find ourselves, going down this rabbit hole, so to speak, and, finding ourselves in addictions and all these other things because we were told things that were not true about us, not true at all.
I have to admit that, in fact, I found that that was the case for myself as well. A lot of these agreements, that was the belief system. If I actually then looked at it objectively from 180 degrees or like across the street going, hey, it's like,
Mhm.
wow, that didn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, it
So,
didn't.
so I had to kind of change my thinking, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yes.
You know, I mentioned that everything does start with a thought, um, and then it requires, though, an action plan
Yes, it
to
does.
take action on it. I also want to let the viewers know that Suzie and I met in a group, Movement Makers, we want to give kudos to Evan Carmichael for that group. We've been studying with him. He released a book, Built to Serve. We're all uh, doing, well, determining our purpose and then pursuing
Yeah.
our goal in life, the thing that we want to do based on some other things like our one word. What is your one word, by the way, Suzie?
My one word is uniqueness.
Uniqueness.
Hmm.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Everybody is kind of unique and special, aren't we?
Everybody is unique, but we weren't told that. We were kind of molded and shaped and told who to be and told who not to be. We weren't allowed to be our unique selves, who God made us to be, because I think the Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we were told that, we were dumb or stupid. You're this, you're that, and that has a very profound effect over your mind and your beliefs about yourself. So you grow up believing with this chit chatter in your head saying, oh, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm a loser, whatever it is that you were called when you were younger, until you start to get yourself out of that and recognize your own uniqueness, which is really and truly your power, and that is your unique gift and ability to serve other people.
Well, and I believe in that, and I'm so grateful to Evan Carmichael for having this group and the opportunity to, of course, get to know you,
Mhm.
and then to get to know me. That's what we're learning is about getting to know ourselves,
Yes.
and it does come down, I believe, to serving humanity. I know that for myself is what God's plan was for me, but
Absolutely.
I had to go through a bunch of very difficult times to get to where I am today.
Right.
We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Maybe you'd help the viewers get to know you a little bit more, and you'd tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Suzie Suttles, and I experienced every kind of abuse that you could ever imagine. I have experienced verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, um, rejection, abandonment, financial abuse. And a lot of that happened in my childhood, but also in a marriage that I had. So, um, it's just a lot of broken confidence I grew up with, low self esteem, depression, anxiety. I used to have panic attacks all the time. Um, and so, I know a lot of people don't agree with the whole, you had to go through what you went through um, to tell your story. But I really and truly believe that because it was what I went through, I am able to share that with other people who are going through. If I hadn't gone through what I went through, how could I ever tell someone that, what, hope got me through, my faith got me through, and changing my mindset, changing my beliefs, learning new ideas, educating myself and gaining more knowledge and, self development and self help is actually what helped me to change my mindset and start to believe that, what, I am deserving, I am worthy, and I'm not these things that were spoken over me. I'm not the abuse that I experienced. I am, that's a part of my history that's past, and I am the author of my story. I'm the creator of my story. I get to write the story. And abuse is no longer in my story. It's part of my story, but I've written abuse out of my story because I've come so far from that place that that's no longer my story. That's just a part of my story. That's just a part of who I am.
Well, that our experiences do define us, don't they?
They do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And some of these experiences that we had weren't exactly pleasant,
Right. Yeah.
right? And so, as a result of that, people deal with PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah.
And you actually coach people to help become stronger
Mhm.
emotionally and mentally. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So what I do is I teach people, because I realized that once I started to heal, from that past pain, I realized that what really happened was my confidence was broken. My confidence was broken down. From the time that I was younger, things were spoken over to me that broke my confidence. As children, we have, we're going to deal with everything out in the world, right? We're going to deal with people, because they're raised in different families. So in our families, what we're called to do is to really motivate and uplift our children, because they're already going to go out into the world and deal with bullying and people not being so nice. So when your child comes home from that, they don't want to get tore down too, like it's our responsibility as adults to be healthy and to speak life into our children. The Bible says that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Well, if you're constantly telling your child that they're dumb, they're a loser, they're this, they're that, that's contradictory to God's word, then they're going to believe that. They're not going to know that they're worthy, that they're deserving, that they're awesome, that they're amazing, and that's not to build their egos, because like I said, they're going to get that healthy balance. They'll get that loving, nurturing guidance and support from home, and then the world will beat them up, so they still have that confidence, like, no, and I understand that it has nothing to do with me, it's projection. You learn all this stuff when you're in a healthy environment. But because I grew up in an unhealthy environment, that was all I knew. That was all I knew. All I knew was abuse. All I saw was abusive relationships. So of course, I thought that was the normal until I actually started to work on my healing. And so what I found out, like I said, was that it was really my confidence that was broken. I was broken down at a young age and didn't have self-esteem. My self-esteem was not built up in a healthy way that it should have been by my parents. It was broken down. And so what I began to do really was to restore my own confidence and to love myself again, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, relationally, and financially. And, PTSD never goes away. You'll still have, things that trigger you, or things that, make you, question things, but you can live a successful and confident life beyond that, and that's what I teach.
Well, and that is the beautiful part of it, is that we can go on to enjoy life
Yeah.
and live confidently. Now, and I think it's prevalent for a lot of people, or at least, I know I was there too. I didn't like myself. I had no self-confidence. I mean, I maybe had an ego, but that's not the same thing,
Right.
because the ego isn't always the truth.
Right. Yeah.
That's a projection of what I think I'd like to be looked at and how, you know. But now, what specifically would you say? Because I think that it is prevalent with respect to a low self-esteem. What's the first thing that you say to somebody that does have a low self-esteem?
So I would ask, why? Why do you have a low self-esteem? What is it that you don't like about yourself? What is it? And is that coming from the way that you see yourself, or is that coming from the way that people told you how to view yourself? Because in order to gain your confidence and to build your self-esteem, you really do have to love yourself. And that's not in a selfish way. It's just really loving that abuse, that pain that you went through, and knowing again that it's not the end of your story. It was just a part of your story. When we can really meet that darkness, when we can really meet that pain and stare it in the face and say, you don't have control over me anymore. You don't have control over me anymore, because I know the truth now about myself, and it doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter, what my gender is. It doesn't matter. None of those things are relevant. Who am I? I think a lot of it is really getting to know yourself and getting to know your strengths, because the pain is just the weakness. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get to know your strengths. Are you resilient? Are you kind? Like, what are the things that you really love about yourself? Like the things that you do. Like, do you love that you serve people and help people and give to people? Do you love that you're honest or loyal, or that that you're a person of your word, that if someone asks you to do something, that you are, dependable? Like, what is it that you really like about yourself?
And I know that sometimes I know that I felt this way is that I just felt like I was really a failure and I wasn't doing the right things at all. And I think that's where this fear of judgment came in, which fed my or gave me a good reason to feel sorry, I guess, for myself, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. Because you were told that, right?
Guess
When
so.
whenever something happened, whenever you didn't do something right according to someone else's standards,
Right.
then you were told that either it was wrong, or you're a
Yeah.
failure, or you know,
And that's amazing how just saying to someone that, that you're wrong, and even if they do it in a nice way, it's like, well, you're not really capable of that. And, we want to help you do this, but we'll have somebody here try and show you how. I mean, I think that's helpful,
right.
but then it can be internalized. I guess maybe I want to tell a quick story, and I
Hmm.
don't know how it relates, but it came to my mind. And it was because I've been in management, in sales most of my life. So I would go over errors, particularly on some work orders, and I would bring that to the person that was putting the orders into their attention. And it's like, look, this isn't personal; it is business. It's not a personal attack on you. Let me educate you so that you can become more familiar with the product, so that you can maybe catch this stuff next time and not do the same thing, and it potentially be a wrong order, and then everything that goes in with having to send the right stuff and all that,
Hmm.
business aspect stuff. And I found that it didn't really matter how nice I would put it across to people. They'd always take it personally and then probably walk away saying, I hate my boss.
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Because we internalize a lot of stuff, and if we haven't had the proper tools or the proper resources to learn how to not internalize it, to realize. So me, for instance, I know, like, when things trigger me, like when I feel that fear, when I'm afraid of things, I actually go towards them now, because I know that it helps me to grow more. But before, I would run, because with PTSD, it's fight or flight. And so, like, even today, I still will feel that angst, because, like I said, PTSD is always going to be there, but I know that it's really mind over matter. It really and truly is. Like, it's because I don't know about it. It's an unknown for me, that now I can go towards it, because it's still a little scary, but I still walk towards it. I'm taking more risks now. Whereas before, with PTSD, it's like, I'm out. I'm running by. No, I'm not
Right.
dealing with it, because it's something that I don't know, and that scares me. That scares me. But now, because I have had so much growth in my life, and the more that I continue to step out and really kind of, I guess, chase fear, I guess, or make fear my friend,
Well,
I
see,
realize,
that's really cool because,
yeah,
of course, I know that even for myself, and it seems like a lot of the people that I'm around, we say the same things, and that is like, step into your fear,
yes,
because it's that
yes,
opportunity to learn and
yes,
grow and make us
yes.
smarter and stronger, right?
Oh my goodness, it's the greatest opportunity ever. So it's like, yeah, I'm going, even, but it still comes up, because that PTSD is still there, and it is a trigger. But I
Right.
know now that when that triggers, it's for me to heal that part within me. That part still needs some healing.
So I'm thinking a couple things here. I'm thinking the first thing would be is, and you mentioned it really, is that don't um how should I say this? don't own what other people's opinions are of you.
Yes. Yes.
And the other thing is about forgiving yourself for when you're feeling wrong, right?
Yes. That is so key because we have to forgive ourselves before we can forgive someone else, right? And
Right.
a lot of the times, people will kind of they'll project their feelings onto you, and you don't have to take those feelings on. You don't. And that's why loving yourself and knowing, hey, you know what? I'm not this perfect person, because I think a lot of us, we were raised kind of to be perfect. We were expected to be perfect, because if you got terrible grades, you were reprimanded, um, if, like I said earlier, if you did something that wasn't pleasant, or that your parents or someone else didn't agree with, then you were wrong. You were wrong,
Right. We
right?
were called, we were told that we were bad.
Yes, you're bad, you're this, you're that. And it's like, once you actually begin to love yourself, and it's like, no, that was just their opinion. That
Yeah.
was what they were taught. A lot of our parents took on stuff that it's just passed down. It's not something that they actually learned themselves. It was like, well, my mom did it. My mom and my dad taught me this. So I'm just going to carry it on
Right.
to the next generation.
And I see that we have Charles Prinzen here, and he's been on the show before as well. We call him Coach because he is a coach.
Hi,
Uh,
coach.
do you know Charles?
No, I don't.
Oh, you got to get to know him. He's a great person, and we have several other great guests this evening, and we want to thank them for joining us too. We really appreciate your support, and
Yes,
people like Robert Brooker, and of course Charles Prinzen, that is Coach, and welcome Michelle Ferguson. Thank you for joining as well. Um, yeah, so Coach talks about PTSD. He had it as well. And so I was just thinking that, it is about facing those fears. He talks about that, and he helps
yes.
young adults and children to be able to face those fears and to become successful because he came from, I just want to say interesting because it wasn't bad at all. Because for a long time, I felt sorry for myself for the experiences that I had, but then I had to recognize a lot of my stuff, what I
Mhm.
created on my own.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
It wasn't somebody else's fault. It was at the time.
Well, in our youth, yes. In our youth, like we're not responsible for the things that the people did to us in our youth. But as
Yeah.
an adult, we are 100% responsible, for not only healing ourselves, but also taking accountability for the hurt that we projected. I tell people that all the time. Like, I know that I hurt people, and I know that people hurt me, but now I take accountability, for my stuff. And because I have forgiven myself, it can no longer be used against me. And because I go forward in love and not hurting people, I go forward in healing and not hurting people. Life is different now because now I can see it when someone else is projecting their fears or their pain onto me. It's like I can't take that on anymore. And I think that's a lot of the things that I felt responsible for taking on their pain. Um,
You think that when people are giving you a hard time, and I'll use the word ridicule you, or not necessarily healthy criticism, that's straight projection of their own insecurities or their own fears about that situation?
I think so, because a lot of the times when you speak about stuff, when people actually hear it, when it comes out, it triggers you. It triggers something within that person that they haven't out within themselves. Because think of it, when you actually love yourself, right?
Right.
What do you have against someone else? When you can love yourself wholly and completely, I love everything about me, even my past pain, even my failures, even my shortcomings. When I can love everything about myself, why wouldn't I love someone else? Why wouldn't I?
Yes.
Why
And
wouldn't
you made a
I?
good point earlier when you say when you get to that point where you can love yourself and forgive yourself and look yourself in that mirror and say, I love you in your name. Um, I love you, Stephen. That's what I do that, but I know for a long time I couldn't.
Right.
But when you do that, and this is where I want to go next, is about this self-care,
Mhm.
because self-care is super important to help us get to this point. And I came up with this thought that is, I had to get selfish so that I could become selfless.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yes, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people self-love is actually the greatest gift to humanity. It's the greatest gift to humanity because how can you give from an empty cup? If you're constantly giving, 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 never taking time for yourself, never spending that time for yourself to refuel, to re-energize, to fill yourself back up, I say to go to the well, to go to the well, and refill yourself back up. Because what happens is when you spend that time by yourself, when you're caring for yourself, when you're loving yourself, guess what God is doing? Filling you up to overflowing. And you can give at a greater capacity. You can give it at a greater capacity. But see, when you're not loving yourself and you're giving, 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 you're expecting people to give back to you. And then you get angry, you get resentful, because they're not meeting your expectations.
Mhm.
But see, when you love yourself, you don't expect anything from anyone. You don't expect anything from anyone. These are my needs. And if you can't meet them, then that's fine. I know how to meet them myself.
I
I
think
don't
that
need to expect anything from you. I think we put these high expectations on people.
expectations, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. I know that I was taught about expectations, and it seemed that I didn't meet up to those expectations a lot of times, which made me feel inferior and less than,
Yes.
you know.
You're not.
And so I tell this story about my friend. His name's Steve too, by the way, and we were talking about this specific thing about expectations, and he kind of led me down this path that I adopted, and that is that when you have, I mean, let's not get this wrong. There needs to be benchmarks. I'll use that word
Mhm.
of expectation. Certain levels, particularly in business, but if you attach yourself to the outcome with this expectation, you're probably going to get disappointed.
Mhm.
And so I had to learn to try and acceptance.
Mhm.
Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today, because when I accept people or in places and things and situations for being what they are instead of what I expected that they should be,
Yes.
then peace and serenity can be part of my life.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's so true. That is so true.
Yeah, that's what I found anyways.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
that's
you
what
do a lot of things. You've got a lot of hobbies.
I learned. I do.
You do,
I
and
do.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me just I know that you do singing, you do writing, you like to go out in nature, and of course, we here at the LWN Live with Nature Foundation promote getting out into nature because it's healing for us.
Yes.
And
I do tap
yeah,
dancing.
so tell us about the things that you're doing for self-care, and your hobbies, and how that impacts you in a positive manner.
Oh my goodness. So right now I am actually doing a 30 days to a healthy or loving yourself unconditionally beyond abuse. But then I'm doing in 2 months, I'm doing the mental portion of it. But in the questions, I tell people that, you know, actually today's question was, what were my favorite childhood activities? And so when I was going on this healing journey, this self-love journey, I had to go back and remember the things that I loved to do as a child. Because look at children. When a child is just being a child, they're imaginative, they're creative, like they come up with these ideas, right? And people are wondering, why am I so unhappy? Why can I not be happy? Because we are creators. We were created by the creator to be creative, to be creators. And so if you're not living in a creative space, you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy because you're not doing the things that are setting your inner child's spirit free. You're not allowing your inner child to run wild, to be, you need that. You need to nurture your inner child, So what I used to do is, when I was a child, I used to love to swing on the swings. And, you would go really, really high. You would go as high as you could go. And then we would jump off, right? Children are fearless. Like we didn't care. I didn't care how high it was. And, if I skinned my knees or whatever. So on this journey, I actually went to the park and swung on the swings. When I was a child, I used to love to do puzzles. So I implement that back into my life. I love to do crafts. I've always loved to dance and sing. And then most recently, in 2019, I started tap dancing because I've always wanted to tap dance. My mom had me in tap dancing when I was like 3 years old, but she couldn't afford it. So as an adult, I went back to that because that was something that I absolutely loved, but my mom could not afford it. And it took me almost 40 years to go back and do it, but I love it. And, it's kind of like a natural talent and I don't know how or why, but it just flows naturally. But I find that when I'm taking that time for myself, when I'm nurturing my inner child, when I'm loving on my inner child, I have more creativity for my business. I have more things, and I can hear better from, my intuition just flows through me better. Like it gives you so much more creativity. And that's really who God wants us to be. We're creators. We're innovators.
We are, he was the original causation, and in us, as us, and through us, with our creative thinking, we make things happen.
Yes.
And so I love how you are going back to when you were a child doing tap dancing, then you didn't do it, and now you're doing it as an adult, and you're tapping into that inner child, and you're doing something that you found, wow, I have a natural talent for it. That's so cool.
I'll be posting some videos soon. I gotta get my tap board put together. But yeah, it's when you tap into that playful, fun side, that child side, because I think a lot of adults, we forget that that we still have that inner child inside of us. The inner child will always be there. The child will always be there. It doesn't mean that you're not responsible or that you're not serious, because you can be serious about your business, but when you're able to be playful and to do things that you enjoyed doing when you were a child, like what were your favorite things as a child? What were some of your favorite things to do as a child?
Yeah.
Try your best to implement that into your schedule, even if you have to block some time out. You deserve it.
That's important to do things like that. One of the things that I did was I loved riding bikes. That was a big deal for me, and so, and I have to admit, I have to get back into it. I haven't done it for a while, but you get so many other benefits from it too. You get the health benefit, right? The exercise.
Yes.
And so, and you get outdoors.
Yes.
And you see more things when you're on a bicycle versus being in the car speeding past everything.
Now, do you ride with no hands?
Do I what?
Do you ride with no hands? Did you used to do that when you were young?
Occasionally, yeah. It depends on the bike I was on, whether I was doing that. 'Cause some of those bikes I had, you could take your hands off and it just wanted to swerve right off the road, so I had to be kind of careful.
Yeah, if you had a 10 speed though, you could kind of, and it was a little bit of cockiness, like, look, no hands, but yeah, just do that when you're riding your bike, like, and just get that feeling, because it reminds you of when you were a child and you used to do fearless things.
Oh,
It
yes.
gets you out of that space of fear.
We were pretty fearless on those bicycles, I promise you. We built jumps and everything, and did all of that stuff,
Yes, you weren't afraid to do anything. And that's why you have to tap into that childlike energy, because as an adult, we overthink too much. We tend to overthink too much, and we really do stop ourselves from our own greatness, from being our own unique selves, because we're thinking about what are other people going to think about me. But as a child, you didn't care. You didn't care. They called you crazy for trying to build that ramp over that puddle and jump it, or like you didn't care. Get back to that state.
Yeah, so that's going back to the, we don't want to be owning somebody else's opinion of us, right? And there is a great fear, and I know that I had that for so long, of doing something that I know that I would feel that I was probably going to be judged poorly as a result. So
Mhm.
let's maybe just address this. We got something up here on the screen from Robert Brooker. We appreciate you, Robert, all the way from Toronto, Canada. All right, so let's read this. Do you want to go ahead and read that for us?
When I am on point and the one doing the live stream is responsive to the comments, I can compose a comment for them that will bring tears of joy to their eyes. And being on point means that I have connected with them. Some people are very guarded, and much care must be used when uplifting them. Yes, people are very guarded, and then that goes back to that emotional pillar. You know, we put up these brick walls. We hide behind these brick walls. But what I learned is that that brick wall is actually keeping the greatest blessings. I was keeping the greatest blessings from myself by keeping that wall up, and yes, it's terrifying to lower that wall. But what I found out is that as long as I trust the universe and listen to the universal guidance within me, I can't go wrong. I can't go wrong. Why? Because the universe will warn me, like, nope, not that one, not there. Nope.
Well, I believe that God wants us to overcome barriers that we had and to break through them and to step on the other side of that fear.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know for a long time, and I'm sure you would agree, is that because of the fear factor involved, I just wouldn't take the risk,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because you're
so
afraid.
I think as an adult, I've had to learn that it is important to take a risk and that even if I fail, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just learned something from that experience.
And the greatest thing is that when you are really and truly anchored in that self-love, which I believe is the love of God. See, a lot of us don't love God because we weren't never told to find God on the inside. A lot of us are looking for somebody on the outside. But when you tap into that self-love, you actually tap into that spiritual energy, which is God. And it's like you learn to trust. You learn to trust. Even in fear, you learn to trust. And when you're anchored in that self-love, you realize that no one really can truly hurt you. Yes, will you experience a setback? Probably so. But it won't break you like it used to. It won't break you down like it used to. It's like, okay, I can get up from this. I can get up from this even stronger because I learned a lesson from it. But the greatest thing is that, guess what? Trust is love. Guess what? I allowed myself to love someone else. I allowed myself to love someone else. So even if they do something to me, I know now that it doesn't matter anymore because I gave the love. I gave the love out. And that's what we're here for. We're here to serve and love others.
I'm wondering what you might recommend for like children or teenagers in particular. Let's just go right there.
For confidence.
Okay, you'll all figure it out on me in a second.
For confidence.
No, so yeah, what do you tell a teenager that really is kind of down on themselves and they don't have confidence and they feel that everything that the adult's saying to them is just like wrong, you're putting me down, and that's not helping me.
That is a hard. Well, so what I would say is that if it's like their parent, um, you have to realize that you have to love your parent, right? That's your parent. You got to love your parent. But sometimes even we as adults, we we don't always know what the right answer is, what the best answer is. And
Hmm.
a lot of times we're going off of our experience. Um, and I know that there are a lot of parents that try to control their children. They don't allow them to really be themselves. So I would say, try your best to be yourself, even if it's your parents or someone else, who doesn't approve of it, because at the once you get older, you have that responsibility to choose what you want to do. But of course, if you're living with your parents you know, you kind of gotta, obey the rules. But even then,
Yeah.
it doesn't, because a lot of parents don't even know themselves. You
Well,
know,
and I think a lot of parents try to do the right thing, but they, like you said, don't always have the right words, and then it might not come across that way.
right,
But I kind of use the analogy that if the parents didn't care, they wouldn't say anything,
right,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
they
If they
would,
really didn't care, they probably wouldn't waste their time talking to the kid. They'd really make them feel ostracized and outcast.
right,
And God forbid that that stuff does happen. And my heart breaks thinking about that stuff.
mhm,
But I think a part of this message is that there is, and you mentioned it, light in the darkness.
mhm,
That even as dark times as it might seem, that everybody is truly loved.
yes,
We're an expression of love. That we were made in love by God,
yeah,
and that we're children of God, and He loves us, and that we need to recognize that we are good, that we have seeds of greatness within us, and that we had to nurture those seeds.
that's it. Yeah, we're
And
both.
it takes
We're both.
time, right?
Yeah.
Time and patience and
Time
faith.
and knowing too that we're both. We're
Yeah.
both. The light can't exist without the dark. That's the yin and the yang. That's in nature. We have to have the day, we have to have the night. So we're part of nature, and the thing is learning to love that dark part and not hide it. Learning to love it and embrace it and not hide it. I think a lot of people try to hide behind it because there's this shame attached to it, and there's
Hmm.
no shame in it. We all have these emotions. We all are, yes, we are a spiritual being, but we're also a human, and the human has emotions. Now that doesn't mean, to take your emotions out on people, because when you become self-aware, when you learn to love yourself, you recognize where these emotions are coming from and that they're really just coming up for release. You don't have to stay there in the emotions. You let them come up and go. But I think a lot of times we allow our emotions to rule us instead of us ruling our emotions. you know
That's a good point. I know that I think I was talking earlier about emotions and that it was about the thinking. I'm trying to remember where I was with that, and not to be necessarily. I think that kind of goes back to being attached to. Well, it's all based on what we were thinking, and
yes,
those thoughts and that response or reaction to a situation triggers us to act a certain way as a result of it.
absolutely.
And which create the thought creates the emotions.
Hmm.
And
Which create
so the goal here is to work with those, like you said, embrace those unhealthy feelings so that you can move through that and accept it and say, "It's okay. It is normal, but
yes,
we can be happier too."
yes, yeah, yeah. You don't have to stay there. When you
Yeah,
have a sad day or a depressed day, you don't have
yeah,
to stay there. You know,
yeah,
you don't have to stay there. It's not meant for you to stay there. It's for you to allow them to come up. I think a lot of times we fight it. It's like we overanalyze it. Like, oh my goodness, why am I so depressed? Why am I so sad? It's like it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna have these things that
yes.
come up. Like I had an incident today, where, well, it's been ongoing, but, this morning I woke up and I was like, the first thing I say is like, thank you. But then I started crying, about the situation. And it's just like, um, I'm not sad, but these emotions are happening. So I'm letting them come out. And as soon as I was done with my morning prayer, I got to work. It's like, okay, this situation is not going to stop me. It's here. I see it, I recognize it, but it's not going to stop me. But if I want to cry about it, I can.
Yeah.
I can. I absolutely can. You know why? Because I can do that. I can.
You felt better after you cried, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
You
Yeah.
know, it's let me know that I feel because this is a serious situation. I feel it's okay for me to feel, but I'm moving forward because it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me because I have a greater purpose. And a lot of the times challenges and obstacles, they come in our way to stop us, because especially when you're serving and walking in your purpose, the challenges are going to come. It's meant for you to stop, right?
Yeah.
It's meant to break you down and tell you to stop.
Would you say that when you found your purpose, then, like, I know that you have, and I know that I have, we found our purpose, we're working towards that, we're servants of God, helping community, that then at that point, things can happen that can really challenge
Oh,
faith, right? All of a sudden, you're going to have things coming out of the woodwork at you that you have to address. And, how are you going to respond to this stuff?
how are you going to respond? Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going down without a fight.
I love your spirit. You've got
No,
such-
not today.
By the way, folks, Suzie is a hero.
Thanks.
I think she's a hero. She's my hero. She's a society hero too, as well.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for what you're doing,
Yeah,
but I also want to talk about affirmations.
my favorite.
Good. Affirmations are really important to start achieving the mindset that we want to get to, right? To start achieving our goals and dreams, right?
Absolutely. So, like I said before, my first 30-day challenge, I gave them the workbook, and I also gave them this self-love affirmation. Now, this is mine, okay? But I sent it to them so that they can change it to theirs. So I'm just going to speak it over, just so people can get a little bit of it. So
excellent. Thank you.
It's called the affirmation.
Way around.
I love me. I love my life. I love my heart. I love my soul. I love my body. I love my home. I love my mind. I love my little quirks. I love my sense of humor. I love my solitude. I love my laugh. I love my smile. I love my eyes. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my peace. I love my passion. I love to feel inspired. I love to inspire others. I love to feel vibrant. I love to meditate. I love to pray. I love to sleep. I love to drink water. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love music. I love to play the piano. I love to create. I love to write. I love to read. I love to travel. I love the beach. I love the mountains. I love yoga. I love to give. I love serving others. I love me. I am enough. I am worthy. I am appreciated. I am approved. I am amazing. I am all powerful. I am all knowing. I am content. I am beautiful. I am unlimited. I am abundant. I am passionate. I am compassionate. I am fearless. I am lovable. I am blessed. I am grounded. I am love. I am a creator. I am limitless. I am wise. I am happiness. I am a masterpiece. I am peace. I am prosperous. I am a writer. I am a published author. I am wealthy. I am healed. I am whole. I am complete. I am positive. I am a goddess. I am divine. I am a light to the world. I am a giver. I am selfless. I am courageous. I am faithful. I am empathetic. I am talented. I am intellectual. I am intuitive. I am aware. I am valued. I am respected. And I love me.
That is wonderful. I love it.
And this goes on my bathroom mirror. So after I get up in the morning and go to the bath, because of course we all go to the bathroom first thing in the morning, right?
Right.
It's on my bathroom mirror, and that I speak it to myself every day. But when I first started this journey, I used to do it 3 times a day, and it was the hardest thing at first, because I had to get past those limiting beliefs about myself. And there were times that I would sit there and cry in front of the mirror because I could not get through it entirely. So what I tell my challengers is, put this everywhere. Put it on your closet door. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on your refrigerator. Every time you pass by it, say it, because this is repetition. This is repetition. It starts to get into us. And even if you feel those thoughts, when you start speaking it and you really don't, you cringe at it, you don't believe it, you cry, let it, and keep speaking it. Keep speaking it. Because eventually you will begin to believe it. Eventually you will begin to believe it. Yeah.
Well, we want to read this to you. S- Spoon says, "We're so blessed by your words and strength. Thank you for being such a beautiful
Oh, thank
human."
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're a
you
beautiful.
really are. It's so awesome. I mean, we're so blessed this evening with your sharing. Um, I know that you were kind of then talking about the fact of how important it is for the consistency of repeating the affirmations.
Yep.
Now, I am sure that you do a routine, and I kind of heard that coming out of you. Is this routine? Maybe you just share. We've got about 7 minutes left.
Mhm.
So I'd like to give you about 3 or 4 minutes to just go ahead and share with us about routines and your final thoughts with the viewers.
Okay. So before my daughter gets up, I make sure that I take at least an hour for myself. And what I do, the first thing when I wake up my eyes, I say thank you. Not only am I thanking myself, I'm thanking the universe. I'm thankful for another day. So I say thank you. I'm great. Actually, I say good morning. Thank you. I'm thankful for another day. And then I go into a prayer. So I spend about 20 minutes in a prayer. Some days I do a meditation after my prayer. Some days I do yoga. Some days I may do, some squats, but I do some kind of meditation or exercise after my prayer. And then, of course, I get up, get me some water, and I go into the bathroom and I say my self-love affirmation. And that takes about 45 minutes to an hour. If I have like a little 15 minutes or so, I'll typically go out on the porch, the patio, and just enjoy some silence for the 15 minutes. Just listening to the birds chirp, just enjoying that nature for about 15 minutes.
The
Yeah.
Sunrise Daybreakers. I don't know if you've ever seen. I had to do
No, I haven't. Yeah.
that.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
my morning broadcast where, yeah,
Oh,
connection
is
to
it?
nature, connection to
Oh,
source and
yes.
community.
Oh,
I had to take that opportunity. Sorry, folks.
yes. Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That nature is so important. Yeah,
Very much so.
I
But I
couldn't get
didn't really mean to interrupt you there. I'm sorry,
no.
but I just got triggered with. I got triggered.
No, but
You said
nature.
nature. You said birds chirping. That's like almost a regular on the broadcast. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to check it out. It's at sunrise. That's why it's called Sunrise Daybreakers Tribe. At sunrise, the sun's coming up. I start when it's kind of dark, and then the sun comes up,
Wow.
and the birds are chirping, and there's a meditation thing and
Oh,
stuff.
that's
Check it out.
beautiful.
If,
Yeah.
folks, if you're hearing this too for the first time, Monday mornings at 7, I'm going to take this opportunity.
Monday
Monday
morning.
mornings, 7 a.m.
Mhm.
On Facebook, as well as Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple and Android TV for your smart TVs. Remember to download that E360 TV app
Yes.
so you can watch it
Yes,
on
I
the
am.
big screen.
Mhm.
Yeah, love nature.
Yes. Yes. It's a grounding because that's where we come from. And so as much as we can get back to it, I think that helps us to stay balanced and to stay grounded, just to remember your roots. That yes, we're in this human shell, but at the end of the day, we're nature. we're spiritual beings, we are nature. Take your shoes off and walk, barefoot. One time there was like this rain, it was raining and it was like very warm outside because I live in North Carolina. And I threw off my sandals and I just ran in the rain. Like the most freeing thing ever. So
Love it. Yes, I've learned that being out in the rain isn't such a bad thing.
beautiful.
I got a little practice when I lived in Seattle. It rains all
Oh,
the time,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
sure. Right. Yeah. Where are you
But
now?
it is fun, and folks, yeah, get out into nature. I'm in Sarasota, Florida, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, it does rain during the summer all the time.
It does.
Uh,
Yeah.
but we have a beach here, Siesta Key, and you want grounding. That's it. It's a quartz sand beach. It's like been ranked #1 beach in the United States. It's in the top 5 in the world. It's the most grounding beach I've ever been on, and yes, so that's beautiful fun. That's why
I was-
people want to be here. They come for the beach. But
Absolutely. Yes.
we really appreciate you sharing with us this evening. You've just given us so much wisdom here. You're such a beautiful light in
Thank
this universe, and I'm just so blessed to be able to have met you. And you know what? This is the opportunity. Evan Carmichael, gosh, we love you, okay?
Yes,
Because
yeah,
without you, we would have never met. And
absolutely.
that's the beauty of that.
Yeah.
If you folks don't know Evan Carmichael, you know, he's a business and thought leader. He's on YouTube. You can't miss it. He got 6,000 videos or something. He's got the most views of any video. He's really one of the top stars up there, but he's just so wise. And that's how we met.
And and he's raising thought leaders, because you're a thought leader too. And I just want to say thank you for your platform and for what you do, because you're being a light too. You know, you're being an example to people who have been where you are, and showing people that there is a life. There is life after. It is. And
There
it's
is.
so beautiful. It's peaceful, you know, and it's so much better than what you ever had before. It is.
Yes. Exactly. And there is light in the darkness, I say, and or light at the end of the tunnel, however you want to put it. But the fact is that it took a lot of work. That's what it took. It took a lot of work. It took determination. It took consistency,
Yes.
and it took visualization of our goals
Yes.
by
Mhm.
putting together a healthy routine that I live by, just like you were describing earlier.
Yep. Routine, commitment, self-discipline. You got to say no to some stuff. You got to be consistent, you know, and realize that even through the struggles, that you'll be okay, because the struggles really do build the characteristic that you need. It builds that resilience. It builds that integrity. It builds that love. It builds so many great characters. So never despise the small things, because you will come out greater on the other side if you keep fighting.
Well said. Couldn't have done it better.
Yeah.
We want to thank all the viewers for taking time to join us this evening. We want to thank our sponsors as well for making this possible. Total Coatings here in Sarasota. They'll take care of your tubs. They'll refinish it and make it like new. And for your heating, air conditioning, solar, electrical, or plumbing needs, Cool Today. Get the best from Cool Today. And we appreciate you. We're going to be back. We'll be back on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Please do join us. Oh, yes, we have a new sponsor as well. Sarasota's Architectural Salvage, downtown Sarasota. And I tell you, they got so much great stuff down there. I like old stuff. But the bottom line is great company. And so we'll have some more information. We thank you so very much. Appreciate you, Suzie.
Oh, thank you,
See
Stephen,
you
for
again
having
on Friday.
pleasure. Yep, absolutely. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now, everybody.
We let our bathtub go too long. It had rust in it, it had deep pitting in it, there were chips. I, quite frankly, thought it was unrepairable.
Total Coatings is a family-owned and operated bathtub and shower refinishing company. We've been around since 2006, but we use a exclusive non-toxic porcelain coating that was developed over 60 years ago by a franchise in California. So the product is very well established. We refinish bathtubs, showers, wall tile, countertops, and even sinks. Customers want to know what makes our product different, and that's, of course, the exclusive non-toxic porcelain. We also don't acid etch the surface, so you don't have to leave your home because of noxious fumes.
I was completely and utterly shocked. It looked like a brand new bathtub. I would recommend Total Coatings to anybody.